Hey everyone, welcome to Resistance Book Club. My name is Keita, and this here will be Stephen Graham Jones Reads Volume 1. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay, so I've read a good chunk of Stephen Graham Jones books, so I figured let's just go ahead and do a volume one for this and we'll see how it goes. So, the first one I want to talk about is The Babysitter Lives, and this here is only produced in audiobook form. It is read by Isabella Starla Blanc, Stephen Graham Jones, which he does his acknowledgments at the end. And the listenership for this is 7 hours and 34 minutes. The synopsis reads: a mother carries her 6-year-old daughter into a tile bathroom where the bathtub is already running, it's still running, it's overflowing, and for a moment the girl calms, seeing her little brother floating face down in the water. His hair a golden halo around him, but then his mother is guiding her face first down into that very water. That, as it turns out, isn't just water, but scalding water. And 11 years later, her scream is the drawer screeching out of the counter by the sink. When high school senior Charlotte agrees to babysit the Wilbanks twins, she plans to put the 6-year-olds to bed early and spend a quiet night studying. The SATs are tomorrow, and checking the Native American slash Alaskan Native box on all the forms doesn't mean jack if you choke on test day. But tomorrow is also Halloween, and the twins are eager to show off their costumes. Ron is a nurse in an old-fashioned white skirt uniform, and Desi has an authentic squaw costume, complete with buckskin and feather headdress. Excitement is in the air. Charlotte's last babysitting gig almost ended in tragedy when her young charge sleepwalked unnoticed into the middle of the street, only to be found unharmed by Charlotte's mother. Charlotte vows to be extra careful this time, but the house is filled with mysterious noises and secrets that only the twins understand, echoes of horrors that Charlotte gradually realizes took place in the house 11 years ago. Soon, Charlotte has to admit that every babysitter's worst nightmare has come true. They're not alone in the house. So, yeah, this here was so good. I actually really enjoyed it. It didn't really bother me that much. I was sitting there listening and I was just like, dang, like what in the world is going on in this home? But love the Native American lore that he puts into his books because he is also Native American. And I love the the horror aspect of it, of being in this home and then hearing all the noises and everything that is going on is scaring this girl left and right, but she's just taking it as is and just kind of like trying not to get anxiety off of it. I just love how the story was going, and I love the fact that it was very short. It's, to me, it's considered like a novella if it's 7 hours, and or not so much as a novella, but just a short story form. And yeah, so because I can't say too much because I feel like I'll be giving it away. Just know from that synopsis I really thoroughly enjoyed listening to this. I believe I gave it 4 stars, and that is no way, shape, or form anything bad about it. It's just I loved it. Um, when we got to the end, I was like, okay, I get it now. I get it. In between, it was just all good. It was just good. It reminded me of Halloween a little bit, but then it also has somewhat of dang, what's that movie? Like The Conjuring a little bit, and then mixed in with a little bit of Insidious with the kids. But other than that, it was still good. It was still good. All right, so the next one that I listened to is called The Clown Brigade. Now, this one here is you can't really get it anywhere except for Everin. Everin is an Everin original. So yeah, I just happened to see it and I was like, oh, okay. I'll go ahead and listen to it. And I didn't even really think too much of it, to be honest. I was just like, oh, it's short, simple. Let me go ahead and listen to it. Um, so the synopsis reads, it's a brand new day for Kyle, and I'm reading it off of my phone because that's the only way I can get this. It's a brand new day for Cal. He's flying across the country to meet a woman he connected with online. His last relationship still haunts him, but just because it didn't work out with Steph, a wildly popular spin class instructor, doesn't mean it won't work with Jenna. When the plane hits some turbulence, Cal feels the world go still, even as the cabins inside churn, and he sees down the aisle of all things a clown, a real clown. White face paint, eyes drawn like diamonds, a wilted red wig, looking right at him, and no one else. He briefly wonders if it's some kind of an omen. He might be a fool for love, but he's no clown, right? He plans to surprise Jenna and shows up at her building with a single red rose in hand. What could be more romantic, more innocent, yet Cal's the one treated to surprise after surprise. Another clown in white face and red wig, the works, pops up out of nowhere, and security on the premises isn't as friendly as Cal had hoped. He's just a young guy looking for love, but looks can be deceiving. And in Jones's hands, Boy Meets Girl becomes daring and darkly funny social commentary, a deeply disturbing and tragically timely poes reckoning with a culture where the fantasies of fools and clowns, in fact, a whole brigade of them, too readily to turn to senseless violence and end in chaos and destruction. Yeah. Now, also, is the length of this is 1 hour and 20 minutes, and I'm trying to find who. Oh, narrated by Taylor Tutt. This one here, a 4.5. I loved it. I loved it. It was so crazy. I'm like, I would have been scared out of my mind seeing all these clowns. Like, it's so scary. I mean, tell you the truth, if you're like me, if you've seen it, you're pretty much done with clowns. Okay. So the fact of even listening to this and I'm just like picturing the clown, I'm like, oh my God, please stop. I can't. So good, entertaining, 1 hour and 20 minutes. So that right there is considered a novella. Just kept me going, kept me intrigued. I was laughing in some parts of it because some parts was definitely funny. And then once I get to the very end, I'm like, I don't know if I'm trying to figure out, did I figure it out at the end? I'm not too sure if I did. I pretty much was just listening, but it's definitely more psychological than it is like more in your face. It has some satire to it. But definitely, yeah, worth the listen if you ever get the chance. Again, it's an Everin original. Okay, so that means you can only acquire it if you have a membership with Everin. But yeah, so and it also came out 2022. But yeah, I just happened to see it and I was just like, let me just take a listen. And yeah, it didn't disappoint. It didn't disappoint. Okay, next one I read is The Only Good Indians. And this one, the listenership is 8 hours and 37 minutes, and it is narrated by Sean Taylor Corbett. So, from New York Times bestseller author Stephen Graham Jones comes a novel that is equal parts psychological horror and cutting social commentary on identity politics in the the American Indian experience. Um, wait, also, hold on, I'm trying to find where is this start. Oh, fans of Jordan Peele and Tommy Orange will love this story as it follows the lives of four American Indian men and their families, all haunted by a disturbing a deadly event that took place in their youth. Years later, they find themselves tracked by an entity bent on revenge, totally helpless as the culture and traditions they left behind catch up to them in a violent and vengeful way. So this one here, I'm still debating as to what rating I want to give it because it's still processing in my head. I've read it like literally over a week ago. So because this one is kind of like more deep into Native American Indian lore, the cultural traditions, and anything that like the animals and stuff they that represents, some of the stuff that's going on in their culture, and I was getting confused by some of it, but that's okay. I literally, I was just sitting there just trying to grasp everything and trying to understand it. So I think for the outer audience, I don't think it's for us in that demographic, but for the specific demographic is probably definitely for the actual Native American Indian to really read this and really know what he's talking about. But it definitely has the psychological aspect in it, which I love. I think that's my biggest takeaway that I'm learning from him is that I thoroughly love the psychological parts that he has in there and the references that he has in there. Now, yes, when it came to the different animals, the dogs, and I believe it's the wolf reference and elk and whatnot, I was still like trying to figure this out. But I realize now, thinking about it, I believe it was more of it must have been more of they were trying that the guys, the four men, they were trying to so wholeheartedly leave that past behind them that it definitely was catching up to them. And I think the animals was representing um them, like, you shouldn't have turned your back on it. You should have faced it head on and stop doing what you're doing now and just deal with the situation that you have now. So I think those last couple of days that I was sitting there thinking about it, I was thinking that that's what it was really meaning with with the animals. But I'm still, it might, I mean, to me it's still like a 4 star, 4.5 star read. I'm just really just trying to process it properly and not say uh that it's bad or any way. It's not bad at all. Like, I really think it's a really solid read. I'm just trying to process it in a more educational way and more of a different perspective, but also taking into what he's saying in his writing. This one definitely was kind of like hardcore psychological and the cultures and traditions of the Native American Indians and what they go through and the experience. So, and the politics, because it was definitely in there. But yeah, like, I still love it. I still love it. I'm just certain things I really just kind of need to process longer, and then I will get more of a better understanding. And it takes, for me, it can take days, weeks, months on end. Um, it's the same for like other books that I've read from other authors that aren't black. I'm I'm still processing those books, and I read those last year. So, but that one I think is going to stick with me, and it might just end up being my favorite out of all of it. But we'll see how I feel next year. The next one is, of course, the Indian Lake trilogy. Come on, duh. Come on now, because I just did a video for the last book. I did read the first two last year in October, and those were fun. So the first one is My Heart is a Chainsaw. And honey, we started off with a bang. And this here is the listenership is 13 hours and 3 minutes, narrated by Kara Gee. We start off. God, I love this trilogy so much. Um, we are first introduced to Jade Daniels. She is a teenager, 17 years old. She's an angry, half Indian outcast with an abusive father, an absent mother, and an entire town that wants nothing to do with her. She lives in her own world, a world in which protection comes from an unusual source. Horror movies, especially the ones where a mass killer seeks revenge on a world that wronged them. And Jade narrates the quirky history of Proof Rock, as if it is one of those movies. But when blood actually starts to spill into the waters of Indian Lake, she pulls us into her dizzying encyclopedic mind of blood and mass murderers and predicts exactly how the plot will unfold. Yet, even as Jade drags us into her dark fever dream, a surprising and intimate portrait emerges, a portrait of the scared and traumatized little girl beneath the Jason Voorhees mask. Angry, yes, but also a girl who easily cries, fiercely loves, and desperately wants a home. A girl whose feelings are too big for her body. My Heart is a Chainsaw is her story, her homage to horror and revenge and triumph. Child, when I tell you this joint right here, mm, 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 mm. I love this trilogy so much. I really do. Like every day when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, I fall in love with this trilogy so much. I am still going to get the books on my shelf because I don't have any of the three. I had requested them from the library because to me, I feel like it deserves to be in the library, and I did. So, and then I don't even know if the third one was in because I ended up getting it as an ebook from the actual publishing company, which was a blessing, and I really appreciate the woman who helped me with that. So yeah, it was such a gem. Like this here is a gem. If you are into horror, this is it. If you are into to Jason and that whole like Camp, oh, is it Camp Christie Lake and all of that? Oh my God. Like it has it all. It's not missing a beat at all. Jade having this whole fandom of love for horror, it plays into it. I love the slasher 101s. Those were awesome. And I mean, all the way to the very end, it to me, I think one light was literally we're knocking it out of the park because even at that end, honey, that one was gruesome, honey. That one was gruesome. It was really taking people out. Like that one was so serious. Oh my God. But definitely one of the best reads I read last year in horror. Like it was just that amazing. I love Jade. I love everything about her. I love that transition. So going from, it's more of like a goth, but like serious horror fandom that she has for her love of horror, and then going into the next one, which is Don't Fear the Reaper. I'm like, you just can't help but just love like how she's journeying into from being a teenager to being a young adult to, definitely becoming an adult. And it has such like reminiscent to not just the Jason Voorhees, but also a reminiscent to like a parallel character of Sydney Prescott in Scream. And I love Scream. So just to even see that dynamic of her like transitioning through each stage of life is it was so great to be on this journey with her. Oh my God, it was so good. So with that being said, yes, I did read Don't Fear the Reaper. All right, so in Don't Fear the Reaper, listen. He came with it with this one because 4 years after her tumultuous senior year, Jay Daniels is released from prison right before Christmas when her conviction is overturned. But life beyond bars takes a dangerous turn as soon as she returns to Proof Rock. Convicted serial killer Dark Mill South, seeking revenge for 38 Dakota men hanged in 1862, escapes from his prison transfer due to a blizzard just outside of Proof Rock, Idaho. This here. Oh, not only that, let me not forget. Dark Mill South's reunion tour began on December 12th, 2019, a Thursday. 36 hours and 20 bodies later, on February the 13th, it would be over. So yeah, definitely an adrenaline fill. Definitely worth like every bit of it. Oh my God. So the whole listenership for this one here is 15 hours and 18 minutes. And honey, when I tell you it's a full cast, we have Isabella Star LeBlanc. She reads for Jade, Jane Levy. I believe she narrates her best friend. I forgot her name. Jesus. I mean, just be eluding me so many times. Alexis Floyd, Pete Simonelli, Timothy Andres Pabon, Marnie Penning, Dan Bittner, Corey Brill, Matt Pittenger, Jesse Valinsky, Migazy, Pensanu, I hope I pronounced that right, Lee Osorio, Gail Shalon, Alejandro Antonio Ruiz, and Angela Goethals. And I believe I know, yeah, the Alejandro. But definitely this here was everything. And at the end, oh my God. She was like, I am Jade, Mother F. Daniels. And I was like, yes, bitch, yes. So definitely one of the best ones out of there. I thought it was going to be the best one. I'm still debating if I think like the first one is probably better. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Because I think, like, as a whole, that whole trilogy just, it did something. You know what I mean? Like, I can literally sit there and reread this whole trilogy again and again every year. Um, but damn, like that second one was so good. And just to hear like all the different POVs from the other Proof Rock natives there, it was just so good. It's so good. But to me, out of everything, the best part, and I believe I said that in the Indian Lake, the Angel of Indian Lake, is the banter between Jade and the cop. And I can't think of his name either, but he's married to her best friend. That I love all day, every day. I love it every day, every day. Every time them two get on conversation, I am, I eat it up because it's just, it's so good. It's so good. I don't know. It's something about it where it's that. Wait, what are you talking about? Let me guess. Another movie reference. It's just, and then after a while, he just started catching on to what she be saying to Jade, what she be saying, and then now he be trying to like match her, and I love the fact that he be trying to match her in the conversation, but you don't get it. He don't get it in this book, but he gets it in the next book, and I love that. I love that because now he's able to match her in a conversation, and you know, even though she can do that with her best friend, but he definitely was taking the time to just kind of like be able to match Jay in these banter of conversation and whatnot. It's just so good. It's so good. Now I would talk about the Angel of Indian Lake, but again, I already read it, like, and it's already a video up. I meant to say that there's already a video up of me talking about it, so I'll put it in the cards in the description. I mean, in the cards above, and probably in the description below. So yeah, so this is it for right now. Will I be reading more? Of course, I am. I'm going to read some more of his stuff. I noticed that there is some where I can listen to um, in some of the apps. So I'm definitely gonna take that time out and do another one. So yeah. Now, as far as like his writing goes, let's just talk about that. Um, his writing is just so good. Like it's easy to consume. He keeps you grasping, like holding on to your chair for more. I love that he has created this for his community. You know what I mean? Like created this horror genre for his community because, even because they were doing like a giveaway, Stephen Graham and the publishing company, they were doing a giveaway of like the books and the hoodie. Man, I wish I would have gotten it because I don't have any of those, and I really want that hoodie too. But anyway, um, Stephen Graham Jones, if you're watching this, say hey. But what I love that he has this first community because just like for our black community, we have Candyman and Tony Todd was everything. You know what I mean? Like he was the first black, you know, horror villain, in our black community space. And it is just amazing that he still gives us chills till this day. You know what I mean? Because of his voice and because of what he did with the hook, and the bees. So it's scary, but at least we have that for our community. And I said that in when I was trying to win that giveaway that, because I think the question was posed like, who's your favorite slasher? And I put down a Candyman because he really represented the black community. You know what I mean? Like he really did it for us. But yeah, man, I really wish I would have won that that giveaway. Um, but other than that, it was still good. I enjoy his writing. His writing has seen I can see the love and the care that he gives for, not to say that he doesn't give any love and care for all of his works, but I can see that this here, the Indian Lake trilogy, was definitely something more personal for him. And it just translated more better on paper for him and for us to read. It felt so like internal. Um and also with the only good Indians, I feel like that also was a little personal. I'm sure like every one of the stories that he's ever put out is definitely personal, but it felt like the Indian Lake trilogy was just something that, you know, in the works for so long, and then finally to be putting that out, it just probably was more therapeutic in that sense for him. The writing was just superb. I feel like definitely he's I'm assuming, from all of the works that I've seen, he's been in the game for so long, like so he knows what works and what doesn't work. Um, but also stay true to himself as a Native American Indian. And that's what you hold on to. That's what's in your heart. That's what portrays on paper as you continue to write. So I will always sit up here and um, talk about his books. I will always recommend that trilogy to anybody who is definitely a horror fan. Um, I'm trying to think of anything else. I do love the short stories. I would love to see. I wonder if he's actually going to do like a short story for the Never Whistle at Night, like because Shane Hawk said that they are in talks of doing a sequel. So, but a lot of those stories, I can see why I didn't like half of those stories so much is because I can tell that there's more to the story, there's more to the meat of it than what they were putting out. And the other ones, that's just only because of maybe the culture and tradition. I just wasn't too sure of how to process that. And then the other ones I really enjoy. But I definitely want to know, is he going to do one? And if he's a like, no, are we going to do one? Are you going to do one? Are you going to do a short story for that one? Um, because of what he did with the Babysitter Lives, the Clown Brigade, and all that, like, just put one in there, sir. Just put one in there. But other than that, this was definitely a great read. I really enjoyed it. So let me know down in the comment section if you have read any of his books. Is horror the genre for you? Does it seem like it's up your alley? Just let me know. And I will see you in the next video. This is the way. Peace.